Hi friends, I'm Megan. I am a movement instructor and also a registered massage therapist. And today we're going to talk about using Gua Sha. So a couple of things that's super important before we start. You want to make sure that your Gua Sha is clean, hands are clean, and that you've washed your face, taking off any makeup, sunscreen, or just even the oils and residue from the day. I want to be starting with a nice clean surface. It's also important that in order for our guasha to move happily, easily through our skin, we want to add a little bit of facial serum oil or moisturizer, whatever works for your skin. Doesn't need to be a lot, but we want to just apply a couple of drops as we go so we have a surface. So I'm just gonna pat that in. Just helping to smooth it around. I also want to get a little bit into our neck and shoulders. So it's really helpful if you can do this right out of the shower or when you're not wearing things with straps. Mine are going to be a little bit in the way, so we'll just do one side at a time. So I'm going to use a little more of a moisturizer coming in through the front of my throat, up behind my ear, just sort of swiping down my traps. So we're going to start with our Gua Sha, and what we want to use is the top of this little heart. And we're going to start coming from our shoulder all the way up to just behind our ear. When we move, we want to keep our Gua Sha on a 45-degree angle. So you won't be able to see because my hand will be in the way, but it'll be about on this angle. And I want to, if I can reach, I want to try to anchor my skin down. I'm going to turn my head away so that you can see. And I'm only scraping up. And I'm applying a light pressure. So it shouldn't hurt. As you can see, I can talk through it. But I want to feel the Gua Sha consistently making contact with my skin. And we're going to repeat it about 5 times coming up. And I'm going to do a really similar motion, just a little more forward. And what you can see, especially on my sensitive Irish skin, is that it's getting quite red. That's okay. That's what we want. We're bringing blood flow to the area. Good. So moving forward, same thing. Those heart notches are coming up. I want to lift my chin a little, and I'm ending right at the base of the jawline. I'm only scooping up with my pressure, so you see I release and reset. And as much as possible, we want to keep the pressure even and the pace rhythmic so that our nervous systems can get used to this. And we're repeating about 5 times. Good. So you can see the side of my neck quite red compared to my other side. Coming up into the center, you're going to start holding onto this little space of skin and pulling down slightly. And then we're really being careful about our pressure here as we move over the voice box. And I'll lift my chin up, going right to the base of the chin, release and restart. Our neck, often forgotten. The muscles of the fascia in here can get really tight. Good. So we've come about halfway. I'm going to reset my strap and place some moisturizer on the other side. You might notice a difference side to side as you go through these two sides of the neck and the throat. And that is because, you might hold tension in the chest differently. You might also hold tension in the jaw a bit differently. So let's start at the shoulder, working our way up. So again, we're holding it on about a 45-degree angle. I know you can't see it, but I'm holding it about on this angle. And I'm going to try to hold my skin down. We want an anchor point. Ooh. Much harder to do on your non-dominant side, coming all the way up right to the base of the skull behind the ear. Coming up, we're repeating this about 5 times. Keeping with that medium firm pressure. It might not be the same amount of pressure as the other side. Adjust for what you can handle. Once we've done 5, holding to anchor down onto our chest, and we're working up the side of the neck. I'm going to lift my chin. Always having that pressure on the upstroke. Coming in a little more to the midline. Holding that anchor. Maybe doing one more stroke. So again, you can probably see quite red. It's normal, the redness will go away, but what we want is that blood flow to come back into the area. Let's start by holding onto the chin and anchoring it. We're going to start with one side of our face here, and we're going to use our tool. So scraping along the jawline, pulling up towards the ear. I'm going to repeat this about 5 times. Good. Shifting so that we are using the outside edge of the Gua Sha, holding onto the chin still. Now we are moving along the top of the jawline instead of hugging it. Good. Again, working with this surface, holding onto the bottom of the jawline. We're just going to pull up into the hairline. Keeping that pressure nice and steady. Good. Now let's come into the surface and the center of our body. So, holding on to the top of our lip, and coming up under the cheekbone. Good. Coming back to use our divot. We want to pull from the cheekbone coming up. Good. And then let's start around the eyebrows. Again, we're going to use the inside part of this tool. I'm just holding onto my eyebrows, anchoring my skin down as I pull up into the hairline. I'm going to do it roughly 5 times. And then repeat, moving just slightly in towards the center. moving into the center after 5. I'm actually going to hold down my skin here a little easier. And you can see I move an inch or 2 into my hairline, helpful for that fascia. There's a big band of muscle that comes from the front to the top. You know, our forehead, we've got so many little muscles working hard in here. Good. So you can maybe see left to right, my bathroom lighting is a little more forgiving on my phone than in person, but you can really see all of the redness that's come in. We want to repeat the same thing on the other side. So let's start with the jaw using this little heart-shaped spot. I'm going to anchor at my chin and I'm pulling up. Doing 5 or so strokes. Then we're using the inside part, anchoring at the chin again. Stroking along the jawline right up to the ear. Good. Then we want to use that same small part, anchoring at the bottom of the jaw and just pushing up into the temples. Good. Coming on from the inside, holding on at the lip. And we're going to stroke all the way up and into the temple. We've repeated about 10 steps of that. We're going to come back and scrape our cheekbone. So holding in just above the nose and gently pulling all the way up. Nice. Coming all the way in and around. We've already done our forward forehead all the way through. And you can just see how it feels. There's always places that might feel tender or that might feel like it's valuable to have more repetition. 5 strokes is just nice to have a nice easy routine. Altogether that takes us to be about a 12-15 minute routine that you could do daily or a couple times a week. But if it's not too hard on your skin and not too uncomfortable, you can also do more repetitions. So there's nothing wrong with doing 10 or so repetitions of each of those moves. Just really taking your time, bringing that blood flow in. So give it a try and let me know how it goes.